Prologue: Ashes of the Treaty. The galaxy had long believed in balance. The Grand Council, an assembly of elder races, kept peace through treaties, compromises, and the promise of swift, measured retaliation against aggressors. Yet peace was never more than a knife's edge away from collapse. When the Tarkun hegemony descended upon Althara Roman 7, a neutral colony cohabited by humans and Zaith merchants, the balance snapped. Tarkun warships emerged from subspace like shadows, torching orbital platforms and bombarding the settlements below. Civilians were slaughtered with chilling precision, grain silos burned, hospitals collapsed, and evacuation ships were hunted for sport. The hegemony broadcast their carnage galaxy-wide. The humans are unworthy of the stars. Their allies are cattle. This is our claim. Their admirals laughed, certain that the council would grumble, draft new sanctions, and then fold, as they always had. But they underestimated Earth, and they underestimated the council's desperation. Act I: The Mockery of Humanity. The Tarkun capital became a theater of arrogance. In vast colonnaded halls, generals raised goblets of molten iron and toasted to humanity's extinction. Earth breeds too slowly to matter. They rely on machines, not instincts. A species of farmers playing at soldiers. Even the council chambers echoed with doubt. For centuries, humans had been dismissed as young, reckless, and inconvenient. The elder races whispered that humans were too civilized, too bound by ethics to strike back with the savagery needed for survival. Yet behind closed doors, desperation crept into the council's deliberations. They had spent millennia mediating endless wars. Every gambit had been tried: diplomacy, sanctions, limited interventions. Nothing stopped the hegemony. Their fleets grew bolder, their reach wider. The galaxy teetered. The council saw only one move left, a gamble no one dared suggest before. They would unchain humanity. Act II: The Last Gamble. When the vote was cast, silence followed. Elder voices cracked under the weight of the decision. We authorize unrestricted retaliation by Earth command. The Tarkun celebrated the news with scorn. To them, humanity's fleets were laughable, archaic vessels bristling with crude ballistics and rail-driven slugs, nothing compared to plasma-laced Tarkun dreadnoughts. But the Tarkun had never seen what humanity built in silence. For decades, Earth had listened, patient, watching, cataloging every insult, every skirmish, every lost ship. They had tolerated the galaxy's sneers, endured endless provocations, and smiled through clenched teeth. All the while, their shipyards churned in the dark, hidden behind orbital debris fields and cloaked moons, dreadnoughts the size of cities, stealth carriers with hulls blacker than the void, swarms of drones armed with singularity charges. The Tarkun thought Earth was weak. In truth, Earth was preparing. Act III: The Silence Breaks. It began not with speeches, but with silence. On the trade routes of the outer spiral, Tarkun patrols sent their usual reports, mocking humans for cowardice. Then the comms went quiet. Entire convoys vanished. A Tarkun fleet of 12 warships broadcast laughter at a human freighter drifting alone. Minutes later, their signals cut. Wreckage drifted in silence, torn asunder by rail fire no one had seen coming. Then came the transmissions, cold, calculated, relayed across every channel in the galaxy. This is Earth command. You struck first. We answer now. In the council chambers, even the elder races leaned back in shock. Human admirals, their faces carved with scars and silence, filled the hollow feeds. Behind them, entire walls of tactical displays lit up with fleets mobilizing. Docking clamps released. Engines roared awake. From Luna's shipyards to the icy rings of Titan, humanity's answer ascended into the black. Act IV, the retribution. The galaxy's stars dimmed beneath the wings of Earth's vengeance. When the first fleet entered Tarkun space, they did not speak. Their arrival was heralded by silence, the kind that presses into bone, the kind that feels like inevitability. Dreadnoughts blotted out suns. Carrier swarms released drones like a storm of razors, each machine whispering through the void as it sliced toward its target. Tarkun admirals barked orders, certain of their strength. They had numbers, experience, the arrogance of victors. But then the first dreadnought, ISS Nemesis, opened fire. A single rail slug, accelerated to a fraction of light speed, pierced the lead Tarkun battleship. It did not explode. It did not burn. It simply passed through, leaving a hole so vast the ship tore apart under its own weight. The Tarkun fleet hesitated, one breath too long. That was enough. Humanity's answer came not as a wave but as an avalanche. Orbital bombardments turned Tarkun strongholds into molten seas. Shock trooper regiments, armored in exosuits that turned them into walking artillery, landed on Tarkun worlds and fought like storms made flesh. They did not scream battle cries. They did not boast. They simply advanced, step after step, until resistance broke before them. Entire cities went dark, their comms filled only with the static of annihilation. Survivors whispered in terror, "The humans are not fighting, they are erasing." Act V, a galaxy holds its breath. News of the retribution spread like fire through dry grass. Alien councils froze. Some prepared to sue for alliances. Others hid their fleets in deep space, hoping to be overlooked. But the Council of Elders, who had gambled everything, watched with grim clarity. Humanity was not just retaliating, they were teaching. Every Tarkun atrocity was answered tenfold. Every insult, every massacre, every act of mockery repaid with surgical precision and unflinching brutality. There was no mercy, no negotiation, no quarter. For the first time in memory, the galaxy saw what humans truly were when unbound. Not diplomats, not dreamers, but executioners of inevitability. On the seventh day of the campaign, Tarkun transmissions shifted from arrogance to pleading. "We yield, we surrender, spare us." But no reply came, only silence punctuated by the thunder of human guns. Act VI, the fall of the hegemony. It ended with the burning of Tarkun Prime. Their capital, a city of crystal towers and fire-lit spires, was cast into shadow as Earth's fleet blotted out the sky. Dreadnoughts aligned, their rail batteries glowing like the eyes of gods. The Tarkun Emperor broadcast one last message, filled with desperation. "We underestimated you. We ask for terms." He never finished. A single slug tore through his palace, silencing his voice mid-plea. The capital crumbled in fire. The hegemony, once feared across the spiral arms, was reduced to ash. And in that silence, the galaxy trembled. Epilogue, whispers in the ashes. The council's chamber stood heavy with silence. The gamble had been taken and it had paid off at a price. Humanity had done what no other race could. They had ended the hegemony in less than a cycle. But the galaxy now looked at Earth with new eyes, not as the youngest of civilizations, not as naive dreamers, but as the storm no one wished to summon. Across distant worlds, survivors whispered the same words. "Never provoke Earth again." The Council, once the arbiter of balance, had unleashed something it could never fully contain. Humanity's patience was vast. Their silence could last centuries, but their vengeance, when roused, was infinite. The galaxy had witnessed the Council's last gamble, and they would never forget that it paid off.